Okay, so we're back. And, a lot of you have been asking for this one, a deep dive on Catholic teachings on salvation.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do it. We're going to dive right in. And the text that we have to kind of guide us along the way is called Catholic Church Teachings on Salvation.
Right.
And this is really gets to the heart of what Catholics believe about how to get to heaven, how to, what the journey to eternal life looks like.
Yeah, this is really a foundational topic for anyone who's Catholic or even just anyone who's interested in Catholicism because, it shapes how millions of people understand life's purpose, morality, and what happens after we die.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start, I guess, at the beginning. I mean, what exactly does the Catholic Church even mean by this word salvation? I feel like we hear it tossed around all the time.
Right.
But, what does it really mean in this context?
So at its heart, salvation is all about union with God,
Yeah.
both in this life and in the next life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's seen as God's gift to humanity offered through Jesus Christ.
Right.
But it's not something that you passively receive.
Right, because I remember from the text, it's not enough just to believe, you have to actually live it out.
Yeah.
That whole concept of faith and works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just a mental assent.
Right.
It's about putting that faith into action.
Yeah.
There's a good analogy in the Gospels, the parable of the talents, where, just having faith is like burying your talent. It doesn't really have any impact.
Right.
But when you live out your faith through good works, that's what multiplies that gift.
Yeah, so it's not just about like showing up at church on Sunday or something.
Right.
It's really about how you treat others, how you use your gifts, how you try to, make the world a better place. But where do sacraments fit into all of this?
Right.
Because I've always found those a little bit mysterious, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, think of the sacraments as visible signs of God's grace.
Okay.
They strengthen us along the way in that journey towards salvation. So if you take baptism, for example, it's more than just a nice symbolic ritual.
Yeah. Can you explain that a little bit more? What's actually happening theologically there?
Sure. So baptism is actually seen as a spiritual rebirth,
Okay.
a cleansing of original sin, and a grafting onto Christ.
Wow.
In fact, the Catechism calls it the gateway to life in the Spirit,
Okay.
meaning it opens us up to God's grace in this really profound way.
So it's not just water, it's this moment of like transformation.
Right.
Yeah, okay. But what about people who aren't baptized or people who belong to other faiths? Can they achieve salvation according to Catholic teaching?
Well, this is where things get really complex.
Right.
The Church unequivocally teaches that the fullness of truth and the surest path to salvation are found within the Catholic faith.
Okay,
But-
but the text also talked about like God's mercy extending to all people, even those outside of the church.
Right.
So how do those two ideas reconcile?
Yeah, it's a paradox,
Yes.
right? The Church leaves room for God's grace to work in ways that we don't fully comprehend.
Right.
So there's this concept called baptism of desire,
Right.
where even someone who's never even heard of Christ might still be saved if they're sincerely seeking God in their heart.
Oh, wow. So even though there's that clear path, it's not necessarily like a one-size-fits-all situation.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about, for sure. So let's recap a little bit. We talked about salvation being this incredible gift from God, this journey towards unity, with Him requiring both faith and actually, living that faith out through good works. Sacraments help us along the way. And then we kind of left off with this idea that, it's possible, even a little mysterious, how God's grace might be at work beyond the Catholic Church.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think this leaves us with a really big question.
Okay.
Given all of this, what does it really look like to live a life striving for salvation in today's world?
Right.
How do we make those teachings concrete
Yeah.
in our daily actions?
That's a great question to leave our listener with, because it's one thing to kind of understand the concept, but the real challenge is applying it to the, messy realities of life.
Exactly.
So thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's
Yeah.
been a thought-provoking journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you.